Doing great. How you guys doing?
Your impressions, just kind of getting started. What did you think the group you had out there?
Yeah, first day of OTAs, we're very excited to get on the grass and actually be able to, go against each other, compete in a controlled environment. Thought guys did a really good job of handling the way we came out today. And so I told our guys this is a great first day, great starting point. Now it's just about stacking days and getting better each day. I feel like we have the right guys with the right attitude who will do that.
How beneficial is it for you guys to have, most, if not all, of your linemen in camp today?
It's beneficial to always have, during this time, a voluntary time where guys don't have to be here. I think it's very beneficial if guys are here because you can get a lot of good, productive work done. Understanding the scheme, understanding the terminology, things that we're using, actually performing the techniques and executing. Everything about our off-season program sets you up to compete come training camp. So the more time on task, the more you're able to be here, get coaching from our guys. It's only going to help us when it comes training camp. So every person who's here will benefit from being here. This is voluntary. It's not about managing guys who aren't here. They aren't here. It's voluntary.
CJ was observing as Davis was taking the snaps. Anything with him? Was he going with it?
For all the guys you see here, guys, there will be guys on different schedules, different routines. So you'll see some guys out. Some guys won't be out there. Some guys will be. Some guys will be on different snap count, different pitch count. So there's nothing going on right now within our guys. Everybody's just on their own schedule.
When it came to banning the tush push and the pushing and the pulling of guys, what was your take on what shouldn't have been done? I think at the combine you didn't really take a stance on that.
Yeah, I think the Eagles have done a really nice job with the play, right? They're using a play that benefits them, and they have the quarterback who does a really good job of making that play successful. I think other people have tried that play and it hasn't been so successful. So I think first off, the play, it goes to Jalen Hurts and a credit to him and the strength that he has, the way the O-line are executing the play. It's a credit to Philly for them putting their players in position to make plays. And that's what coaching is all about. So, they've done a really great job of doing that.
DeMeco, what did you see from Christian Kirk today, and how is he fitting in to what you're planning for the offense?
Yeah, Christian's been everything we could ask for. Talk about a guy he's dedicated to getting better. He's honed in on his craft. He's leading our young guys. He's a hard worker. He shows up every day with the right attitude, working hard, showing guys how it's done. And that's what I've seen from him his entire career. So just pleased to now have him on our side, being able to help us and help our younger guys.
Coach, although it was voluntary, how much of that competitive nature did you see, a competitive spirit, did you see from those guys on the field?
Anytime you line up, it's time to compete, and that's what I felt from our guys. You felt that competitive energy. I think everybody who's here at practice today probably felt that energy, and that's what we're about. We're about competing. We're about challenging each other to make each other better, and that's what I love about the group of guys that we have. And to be able to do it in an environment where you can't go too far, but you got to toe that line just a little bit. Our guys done a great job of that, of just being safe, first and foremost, protecting each other, but also getting good quality work in.
But there's been a lot of new pieces that you guys have brought into the offense. How have you kind of seen them mesh together?
We're still in that process, that phase of getting guys to gel together and work through our system. This is our first time lining up against an actual defense, so it takes time. It takes a process to get there. We're not just going to line up and be where we want to be the first day. That's not how I want it. You want to see that continued growth. You want to see guys continue to push and get better each day, and that's where we are.
You've had meetings and had conversations with Nick Haley, of course, behind the scenes, but what was it like for you to see him interact with his guys in the offense?
Well, Nick is the same. It doesn't change from the moment I interviewed him to his meetings with the players to him being out here on the field. Again, I spoke about it before. You see constant energy from the guy. He's constantly teaching the guys, trying to help the guys as best he can. So he's done a great job of leading the group, leading the coaching staff, leading the players, and I'm excited to see his growth throughout this process.
Seems like NFL players want to be allowed to compete in the Olympics and flag football competition. What would you think about Texans participating in that? Is there anything you think would be good?
Whatever guys want to do, that's up to them. When it comes to if they want to compete in the Olympics and they're allowed to, that's a personal choice. I really don't care. If it helps us, I care about the Texans winning games. That's it.
Who stuff do you think would be best for that situation?
Say that again?
Who on the Texans do you think would be specifically for that?
I have no idea. Whoever you think, buddy.
When it comes to offensive linemen in these type of workouts, is there a specific focus that you give those guys to work on in a workout like this?
Yeah, that's great, man. Really, to have our OTA practices be successful, it takes a lot of give and take between the offensive and defensive line. So there is a fine line of like just working your technique, being in the right position, but not going too far where you get in a bad spot where you want to push a guy in the back or D-line, you want to finish a guy. So it's a lot of give and take there. And I commend, Cole and Rod for doing a great job of leading their groups to allow us to have a safe, productive practice. But one thing where our O-line can benefit, and they've been working all phase 2 on just working really good low pads, like working great pad level, hand placement, footwork, those fundamental, those small details that allow you to be great as an offensive line. That's what you can work here.
On the line, when it comes to finding the best five, what's the philosophy about how you determine that? Obviously, a lot of months till you play a real football game.
Yeah, this is our first day of OTAs, so when it comes to finding our best group, it'll be a lot of mixing and matching guys, putting guys in different spots, and seeing which 5 guys work well together. So one thing about the O-line is a lot of smart guys in that room, and they can move around, they can play multiple spots, and so that helps them. But it's just a matter of finding that 5 once we actually can get in training camp, put pads on. Nobody's making the team right now in shorts and helmets.
From where you were in the beginning to now, are there any players that stick out as kind of like a little bit more vocal, kind of leader, better communicators from when you first got here to now?
From my standpoint, guys have been the same. The guys when I first got in, Will, CJ, those guys have been the same. Nico has been the same. Jalen Petrie. That's the one thing I love about our guys. They're steady, right? Nobody has to rise up and do anything different. They're steady. Guys have done a good job of just gelling together as a group. We got a really good core of leaders who are leading our guys. They know how to practice. I don't have to spend a ton of time of teaching guys how to practice anymore. Our leaders are showing these guys the way, so they make it easy on me.
Seem to get a lot better in the second year, and obviously he wants to reach really big heights. What do you think he has to do to continue on that trajectory that you're
Yeah, what Will has to do to continue to step his game up and take it to another level is just really, again, football is just about the fine, smaller details. So it's about, the get off, the hand placement as a rusher, like being able to convert on his. There's so many technical things that he can get better at as a rusher that would allow him to take his game to the next level. We'll be doing joint practices with the Panthers and with the Lions this training camp. So we'll do one day with both teams. Excited to work against those teams. You get different defensive looks from both teams, different offensive looks. And you get to do it in a competitive environment where you're not live on the quarterback. So it's the safest way, and I feel like we can get really good work for our starters against other teams. And so I'm excited to go against the Panthers, excited to go against the Lions. 2 head coaches who I respect a lot. Dave has done a great job there, and so I'm excited to see him. I think they're on the rise. They've done a really good job with what he's had so far. So I'm excited to see that team come in. And we know what the Lions are about. Coach Campbell and his energy, his spirit as a head coach is just second to none. So I'm excited to work with both guys. I think we can gain a lot out of both practices.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate it.
People have talked about his professional approach since he was in college. What impresses you about him? What's he going to bring to the offense?
Everything, man. Everything impressed me. The way his work ethic, what he brings to the field, just his leadership, and just his advice. As a guy you need to, get advice from. He's been around this game for a long time, man. So it's the only right you learn from him. I'm glad he's part of this unit, glad he's part of this team, man. So it's only right we build and keep going.
Nico, last year coming into like OTAs, minicamp, training camp, you still there. Stephon Diggs, who had been in the league for a while, still in the league rather, had that aura still about that #1 wide receiver. Now it's clear that you are the true #1 wide receiver here for the Houston Texans. How does that make you feel in that leadership role?
It feels crazy, man, but it's also a blessing. You know, it shows you that time flies, but it's a blessing to be in this position. It's a lot of guys, you know, that's looking up to me. So it's only right for me to go in and do my best work. It's only for me to go in and be 1%. You know, be better than I was yesterday. You know, be the great leader, be the guy that everybody looking up to for me to be. So it's only right I come out here, man, and get better every single day, and that's my goal.
How have you kind of seen the offensive pieces gel together? How much offense do you have? New pieces that you like?
Yeah. You know, it's what we're here for, OTAs, around this time, man. It's what we learn the offense, learn little things, get back to football. You know, spring ball is when we find the little things we need to work on, you know, and work on our craft. So on Sundays it's easy. But nah, man, I'm glad, you know, Nick Caley, man, he's dicing things up right now. So it's, for the offense, for us, we got to continue to slow it down, learn it, and so we got here and operate and have fun while doing it.
Now that you shared the field with Jake Higgins,
Yeah.
What do you kind of notice about his game?
The boy's nice, man. Both of the whole rookie receivers, man, the type of guys we got bringing in, man, it's playmakers, man. And it's an honor to share the field with them, you know, and it's only right we go out here and just get each other better, learn from each other, man, and talk to each other, you know, on the route they see, you know, anything they need to work on, man. You know, I'm here for them to lean on, and I'm here to learn from him as well, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's the only way you can improve on your game, you know, just having an open mindset and being a book, you know, just being a learner, you know, so. Yeah. You saw Nick, he's a playmaker, man. You know, he know how to get the playmakers the ball. Great situation. So I can't wait for us to, you know, really get going on Sundays, you know, really for the offense to keep clicking. You know, right now we're in the learning stage, we're learning the offense, new words, terminology, you know, so we got to digest that, you know, and once we do that, man, we're clicking.
What do you think about like Christian Kirk potentially bring to the offense?
Yeah, man, slot majestic, man. You know, he's slot magic, man. He in the slot going crazy. You know, that's one guy you need. Another playmaker. You know, need another guy on the offense. You know, that's gonna make plays. You know, that's one of them. So I'm glad, you know, he's part of the unit right now. Yeah, for sure. Get a gold medal. You know, who don't want a gold medal? You know, awesome. But nah, it's a blessing. You know, it's something I will. You know, I want to be a part of. You know, but if it happens, it happens. It don't. You know, but it's a goal. You know, it'll be fun.
Who on this team do you think is the best flag football player?
You know what I'm saying? I say Sting too. Hey, he an athlete now. And I say CJ. You know what I'm saying?
Two more? Sting, you know, I know, like I said, I know this is voluntary OTAs, but how, one of you all's mantras is iron sharpens iron. How eager are you to go up against him to, you know, get yourself better and to make him better?
Man, eager, man. That's what you want. That's the point of it. That's part of this game. Man, you're going to line up against the best every play. You know what I'm saying? So there's no reason to go out here and just you know, have ass for no reason. You know, you gotta go out there and just compete, man, because I'm getting you better, you getting me better, you know. So I feel like that's the beauty of it, man. We know we line up against each other, him, Steen, Kamar, Petrie, you know, man, who it is, man. Our whole defense secondary, man, you know, we about to work. You know, it's gonna be competitive, you know, the whole practice. And then after, we're gonna talk about it, you know, what we need to work on, things like that, you know. So I feel like that's the only way we can build our relationship as a team, as a unit, and go to battle on Sundays.
Last one, Nico, this being voluntary and having all the offensive line
you head into your third NFL season?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's coming out here. I was all like fired up and everything like that, and DeMeco pulled me to the side and was like, now it's just fine-tuning those little things of your game, like how precise can you be, how good can you be at taking the next step. And for me, it's just like when I'm on a block, using my hands better, getting off blocks, my escape when I'm rushing the passer, like am I reaching with precision on the quarterback? Can I get some strip sacks, stuff like that? So like those are the things I want to work on this offseason, this time doing OTAs and really just getting precise at those things and taking my game to the next level. Yeah, doing this like the phase 1, phase 2. Coach Rod, I think he's been doing an excellent job. Like we do these things called pro grows, and that's when we go back and look at all the tape from last year. And he did a really good job of putting together a really good presentation for each and one of us. And for me, mine's just reaching with precision. So after practice or during practice when I'm not in, we're getting on the dummies, we're reaching, we're going through bags, bending the corner, reaching with precision, stuff like that, and just making sure it's just muscle memory. So when you get on Sunday, you're just doing it. Any double digits, my thing is, man, is how much can I enjoy my process? You know what I'm saying? I think when you fall in love with your process, how consistent can you be? I think that's something that you can reach, man. But for right now, like, I got to fall in love with the process. I got to keep doing my process the right way and being consistent.
How has the attitude, Will, of OTAs changed over the years since you've been here? Or has it changed with whether guys show up or not and what it means to the team?
Yeah, man, we're grateful for anybody that comes here, man. And a lot of guys come, a lot of guys want to be a part of this, man. And it just shows the type of camaraderie that we have in the locker room. And it gives everybody a chance to bond with each other and really just build good relationships and come out here on the field, have fun, and turn up and make plays with each other. And throughout the years, man, more and more people start showing up. We start having fun, man, and it's been awesome to see.
Talk about the repertoire moves that you have,
yeah.
Things you like to do. How much do you feel like that has grown your inventory of moves? And as a finisher, do you feel like there was some sacks there from the field? Do you even have a number like how many you think I could?
Yeah, like I said, my coach, he's done a phenomenal job. Coach Rod, he's done great of just putting together a whole presentation for us of all the sacks that we missed, the missed opportunities that we could have did, hitting the ball the wrong way, hitting the elbow the wrong way, reaching too high and getting a penalty, stuff like that. So, like, we left a lot of sacks out on the table, and that's what I'm talking about, going back to being precise. Like, how good can you be at the process of attacking the throwing arm? How good can you be at taking the ball away, getting a strip sack, picking it up, taking it to the crib? So, like, those are the things that we want to start putting into our bag and finesse moves and stuff like that, taking our game to the next level, especially for me.
What's been your early impression of Ursery, the rookie tackle? And
yeah.
What kind of onus do you guys have as the defensive line to kind of help the offensive line get ready for all the changes?
Yeah, he's a large human being, man. I think he's going to be really good for us. I'm happy he is here, man. And just seeing him out there today going against our guys, man, very athletic, can move for a big guy his size, can bend. And I'm excited to see what he does and just keep going against. And Coach always says iron sharpen iron.
What do you think is the next step for this era of Texans football, and how do you think y'all get there?
Yeah, man, it's just being more detailed, more focused, sense of urgency, man. And now that we've been in some of these big games, man, we know what it takes to be there. And it's about execution. It's about locking in and playing one game at a time and really everybody doing their job at the highest level possible.
Well, what have you seen from Kamar Lasser and Caleb Bullock with their energy coming in, right, even today starting in OTAs?
Yeah, the young bucks, man. It's the same, bro. Like, it's fun watching them. They love football so much. They're very passionate about it. You hear Kamari slapping his helmet, man. You hear Kalen over there running to him, man. And that's what you need on a defense like this. We are playing attack-style defense, and we got two attackers in the back end, man, that don't mind getting their hands dirty.
What about year 3 veteran Will Anderson? How are you helping some of these rookies get acclimated to being here?
Yeah, I think I'm officially reaching unk status, man, and it don't feel good at all. But it's fun, man. But, that's what we're all here for, to be a service to each other and be a blessing to each other, man. And any way that I can help, I want to do that, man. Like, I know my rookie year, my second year, going into my third year, so it'll be, wrong of me not to, help someone else out knowing I've already been through it. So, I just want to be of any service I can, especially being a leader on this team.
You got a chance to work with Myles Garrett in the offseason. What did you learn from a guy like that?
Yeah, man, we didn't really get into much of the pass rush stuff. It was just more mentality and working out and stuff like that. But it really just all came down to mentality. Like, I had a good mentality, but working out with Myles and just seeing how he works and stuff like that, it kind of changed my mindset a little bit, man. Like, he doesn't worry about the outside noise. It's I'm all self-improvement, how much better can I get? It's really just me versus me. So that's kind of the attitude that, going into now I'm taking. It's me versus me. You don't have to worry about anything anybody else say, bro. How are you enjoying your process?
When you do work out with someone on another team like that, y'all are trying to obviously help each other, but at the same time, are you guarded and not trying to tell?
Oh no, it's very competitive, and we talked a lot of smack. Hey, he's hilarious. He's a funny guy, man. But it got very competitive. A lot of words were shared, And, it just brings out the best in both of us, man, because, Miles is somebody I look up to. Obviously, man, I respect his game. He respects my game. And I can't wait to see him ball out this year.
Same amount of weight, kind of competitiveness.
Oh, I'm not a liar. You know what I'm saying? He got the weight stuff, you know what I'm saying? But the agility and all that, I was up there with him. Thank you, guys.
What up, Azeez?
What's up, brother?
Man, you've been on a lot of teams, been in the league for a long time. Do you see a correlation of who shows up to OTAs with them being voluntary and the attendance rate and being a good team and what it does for you?
Yeah, I think when you have a team, especially like this one, with a lot of young talent, a lot of the guys that's contributed for us over the years, and especially last year with this team, it's been a lot of young guys, and guys are kind of year 3, year 4, and I remember me back in San Francisco in year 2, going into year 3, just that OTAs. That's really my 3rd year in the league was really where I felt like that OTAs was more crisp, and going into that training camp, it was just that light switch just kind of clicked on for me. So I definitely think that with especially a young team with a lot of young players, this is a time where it's so slow. It's learning the basic fundamentals of the game and, the scheme and everything like that. So it gives you a chance for those young guys to really come along and learn more. And then obviously somebody like myself who obviously have to communicate the entire defense to everybody. So me being here is important just to make sure that, they're hearing my voice, getting used to, how I call things, because, you get 2 months away from each other. You get a week away from your mom or somebody and you forget oh, damn, I forgot. Well, I got to call them at this time. I got to do this. You forget people's routines and schedules. So it definitely is important.
Since you've been back a long time with Nico, this is your 2nd year with this defense. With you as an extension, as a signal caller. How much do you feel like that background and you being in year 2 can take the defense up a notch?
Yeah, I think it's big because, like I said, whenever you get to stack, more time with somebody, and I've known DeMeco since I've been in the NFL, so I think just more years under your belt, and then obviously now going into my 2nd year with these guys, with this group, and the new guys that are coming along, it's exciting because you just feel if you got 2 chances to do anything, you feel like that 2nd time is going to be better than the first. So I think that's the expectation for myself and for everybody in the building.
One of the leaders in your role.
I'm sorry.
How do you hope to grow in your role as leader and as linebacker on this team?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is for myself, I want to be the best. I play with the best. He's one of my close friends, Fred Warner. Played with Dre Greenlaw, another one of my best friends. And so, we competed when I was in San Francisco for who was the best at that time and who was going to make the biggest play. And I think, my mindset has always kind of been the same. I want to be the best player I could possibly be. I want there to be no doubt. And that's just showing up every single day and doing the little things, especially at this point. You get into year 7, and it's me and Will were just having this conversation where you get to that point where you're 90%, you feel like you got it all figured out. And it's now it's just this 10%. And if you're willing to really try to be great, that 10%, if you get 2% out of the 10 remaining percent, that can be a huge jump for a player, especially, I'm in year 7 now. So I'm just excited because I think the sky's the limit, and, you can continue to play your best ball. And that's kind of just my goal, is to keep leading, keep being better just overall, and try to be the best that I can for this team.
As one of the leaders of the squad, you're trying to build on what you did last year. What's it like being that guy and then having guys like Chauncey and Sheldon added to the mix? How does that dynamic work, where you want to build, but you also want to take in the experience they have?
Yeah, I think that's the thing about life in general, not just the league, but in life. Even when I talk, I do a lot of things like talking to kids and stuff like that. When I talk to them, it's you can learn from anybody. I could talk to a janitor and learn something from him the same way I could talk to the CEO. So you put that in the football setting. I've learned things from guys who maybe never played it down, but they've been in the league for 5 years, or somebody who is a rookie coming in who might just know something that I don't know. So I think it's just about being open-minded and realizing that nobody has it all figured out. So when you talk about a guy like Chauncey who, played, we got drafted, or we came in the same year into the league, 2019 class, and, as the years go on, those people in your class, it starts to fizzle out. And me and him had that conversation too. It's just like, remember the combine, everybody's there. It's this big like fraternity feeling. And then, you know, you look up and it's year 7 and there's not too many guys left. So I think you can learn from everybody because everybody's experience in the league is so different. But if you're just willing to like be a sponge and absorb that, then you can get a lot better.
Considering how much Jalen Petrie means to this defense, what was it like to see him back out here with the guys on the field today?
Yeah, I didn't really notice him. I was like, no, Jalen, that's my guy, man. You know, I love Jalen. Even when I first was in Tennessee and we played against the Texans, like we just, for some reason, just always clicked. After the game, we talking for like 10 minutes just after the game. That was the first time I ever met him. So when I got here, he was one of the first people to, you know, like kind of welcome me and introduce me. And ever since then, like he's been my guy. So it's special. I mean, I'm just so proud of like the growth that he's had. And obviously, you know, you get the contract and it just makes you feel like, yeah, like you earned that. And he did, you know. I'd pay him even more money, man. Like, you know, he's a big part of what we do. And it's good to have him out there.
You mentioned Will. What do you see from him in his growing maturity as a leader, as a captain, and as someone that is one of the better defensive ends?
Yeah, I think that for Will, the biggest thing has just been like the way that he's leading. Because I think he, you know, that Alabama, that just hard nose, you know, he's just tough. And he has that like through and through. But then at the same time, I think as you get older, one thing that I challenged him, especially last year, was like knowing your audience, knowing who you're talking to. Because everybody doesn't respond to that. Because I know for me, especially as a young player, you know, I did not respond well to anybody like being aggressive with me in that manner. So I think like just seeing how he is now, like he still brings the same energy, the same juice, but just like seeing like that extra, I guess, maturity almost to kind of read the room, read the situation, where it's not always have to be a big rah-rah thing. It could be very like soft-spoken, very quiet to talk to one guy about something that you might have saw on the field or something that's going on. And, you know, he's a great player, great leader, and it's just good to see him, you know, like I said, in year 3, just, you know, continuing to progress.
He's coming off of
I'm sorry. I think just going through it, like when you go through one side of it, well, like I said, as a player, somebody's talking to you a certain way. Like I grew up a certain way, and I didn't have my father in my life, so I genuinely struggled to like deal with male figures and taking like authority in that way. So I think as I figured that out on my own, and you know, going to therapy and dealing with my own issues as a young player, especially like with me and DeMeco, that's our relationship was just always like headbutting until it got to that point where you realize like, why is this person talking to me like this? What are they trying to relay to me? And you kind of just able to process all those things and then come up with that solution to realize this person is trying to help me. Their message is just being relayed this certain way, not taking it so personal. And then as I figured that out for myself, you know, and I became more of a leader in my own right, I just made sure that I carried that same message that I felt to the people around me, because like I said, everybody is different and I have no clue sometimes. You know, you go to work, you know, a guy might have just lost, you know, his child, or maybe something happened at home, because we all go through things. So I think it just challenged me to be more considerate and more mindful of other people because I was thinking about how I felt. So.
He's coming off the year that Henry had. How much can he build on that? And what have you seen from his mindset talking to him before you all came here into the OTAs?
Yeah, I mean, I think what Henry did from year 1 to year 2 was a huge jump. And I tell him all the time, I would tell him during the whole season, like, bro, you were light years ahead of where I was from year 1 to year 2, because, you know, just seeing how fast he was playing and, you know, just being kind of thrown in that position where he's playing Mike and Sam, and then say, hey, man, we need you at will because Christian goes down, and you starting all these games and you don't know if you're going to start this week or not. Like, I think he handled it, like, as good as you possibly could, and he, I think, outdid a lot of expectations that a lot of people probably had with him. And just now going into another offseason, you know, another OTAs, another chance to build off of that, like, sky's the limit. Because even for me, like I said, my year 2 to year 3, that jump that I made, I remember it felt like every light clicked on. And I felt like he was already ahead of me with that in year 2. So I'm excited for him. I think the sky's the limit.
How vital were you and DeMeco to his jump and his growth?
Man, I don't like to take credit for nobody. That's God. But, you know, I just try to do the best that I can to teach everybody, regardless of whether they're in my room or not, you know, the things that I know, the wisdom that I have. And a lot of the wisdom that I have, I learned from other people. So, you know, it's just me paying it forward like somebody did for me. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.